Yeah.
I'm Joe English. I'm the chairman of psychiatry at New York Medical College in Valhalla, New York, and a past president of the APA, a former chair of the Section Council, which is in action at the 2012 meeting of the House of Delegates of the American Medical Association, somewhere where not too many years ago we would not have been here. And I'd like to say a few words about how we got here. We're the third largest specialty in medicine, and the influence potentially that we can have is now being felt for the good of our patients and for the good of psychiatry in this very important organization. So let me just tell you how it happened. In the early 90s, managed care was obviously becoming a major concern for psychiatric care, and Harold Eist was the president of the of the APA, and he felt that we needed to pay more attention to the AMA than we had been. For example, we had tremendous relationships with the American Psychoanalytic Association, which benefited us very greatly, but with the AMA, practically not at all. So I was asked to attend a meeting with Jay Cutler and Mel Sapshin and Harold Eist, because their prior suggestions I had rejected. I just finished 2 years as elected president, and had some other things going with the the APA, and was not exactly looking for another challenge, but that group could convince you of anything. And so I signed on and came out to Chicago for my first meeting as the sole delegate of psychiatry on the floor. And our section council was in strife, and there was some suggestion that its leadership should rotate, which would be like asking, the major organization, American Psychiatry, to consider itself the equivalent of much smaller organizations which are dependent on its leadership. And so we began by having to settle that issue, which we did very well through a wonderful partnership with the Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, where the APA would always have the chair of the section council, and they would always have the vice chair, and that is indeed how it's been since those days. That permitted us to really begin to focus on organizational matters, and the question was how to get our delegation expanded. We worked very closely with something called the Triple S, which is the Organization of Specialty Societies, which is really half the membership now of the AMA, but the specialty societies were not terribly well organized in those days to have much impact in the House of Delegates. And so we worked very carefully to change the rules so that our representation in the House of Delegates would be really proportionate in some ways to the number of our members that were members of the American Medical Association. And so we had a grand campaign with our AMA members to have them join. 10,000 of them did, and that put us in a very different position on the floor of the House of Delegates. Suddenly it was 7 delegates, 7 alternates. Today it's 10 delegates and 10 alternates, with the other organizations related to psychiatry, like not just the Academy of Child Psychiatry, but APPLE, the association representing forensic psychiatry. So we are now as large as in our delegation size as many of the states, which really has an opportunity for us to have great influence, not just on our own issues and our own patients, but really the issues that are important to all of medicine right now as we go through this time of radical change. The key to all of this has been the tremendous help that we've received from the leadership of the APA, particularly Jay Scully and Gene Castle and others on the staff, and then people like Jack McIntyre. Let me see, I'm trying to think of the other section council chairs, each of which has been absolutely wonderful. And that team of people has really built us into an organization which not only meets as a section council, but also invites all the psychiatrists that attend, many of them from the states, to something called the Psychiatric Caucus, which we had here a couple of days ago. And it was remarkable to hear the psychiatrists from various states who joined the caucus talk about the fact that they never attended a better meeting at the AMA meeting than our section council, where thanks to our staff the materials are well prepared. They really would like those materials made available to the states themselves, to extend sort of our influence and information about issues particularly of concern to us. And their warm comments really made us feel that all the work that's been put into this over the last 10 or 12 years, and all the great people in the APA that have cooperated and helped us in the strategic planning that it takes to develop an organization like this, was worth it. We now have psychiatrists in just about every major council and component of the AMA, some elected, some appointed. And of course, the great triumph at this meeting is to have the first psychiatrist in recent memory be inaugurated tonight as the president of the AMA. So that this has been a wonderful meeting for us. We continue to need the support of the APA. This is an expensive proposition. Money is tight, but the product, I think, that has come from this investment makes it well worth it. And if you're interested, we would hope you would be in touch with us.
Thanks, Dr. English. And I wonder if you could take maybe one more minute to address, most of the members of the APA are not members of the AMA. And I wonder, why should they pay attention to the AMA, and maybe why should they consider joining the AMA?
Well, there is no question that the American Medical Association is the single most important organization representing medicine, including psychiatry, in the United States. You may not know this, but its assets are $500 million, which really results from its importance over the years in the field and its ability, with that kind of a financial base as well as a political base, to influence things. President Obama met with us during the development of the Affordable Care Act, and when he got it passed, he indicated that without the support of the American Medical Association, that legislation would never have made it through the Congress. Now, there's divergent feelings about that in the AMA, but once the majority makes a decision, the AMA is very supportive. But it's tremendously important for physicians to participate in issues like this. They're issues which not only affect our profession and the care of our patients, but we represent 1/6 of the economy in the United States. And what happens, for example, in relationship to that healthcare reform could have great influence on our country as well.
Thanks so much, Dr. English.